Hello guys, my name is Amit Sani. Welcome to StudyIQ, and this is the Hindu newspaper analysis in both the languages. These videos are coming in the morning, and the PIB videos, they are coming in the evening, both the languages. And we are discussing important MCQs, facts, data, editorials in these lessons. So please spread these lessons and share them with your friends so that maximum people they can take advantage here. And if any complaint from your side is there, then please put that into the comment section. I'm trying my best to make these things as simplified as this can be. So let's start the lesson. And these are prelims oriented sessions these days, because we are combinedly discussing more than 10 to 15 questions in both the lessons, and PIB is totally prelims oriented these days. So please do not miss any of the data, any of the MCQ there. So these are the numbers there you can call, and you can ask for these pendrive courses. All are important courses, and chat section is available on the website, and there you can ask any of your queries. 60% off is also going on. These are the words that I found today, and try them into sentences. Now about the MCQs that I gave to you yesterday. Saltwater crocodile. You see, these are the bigger ones, and as the name suggests, saltwater crocodile, these are found in the salty water. So Bhitarkanika National Park, we discussed yesterday about the protected areas of Orissa. So Bhitarkanika is located on the eastern coast, and this is the eastern coast of India's peninsular part, where these saltwater crocodiles are found. So 2 would be correct, first would be wrong, because first Chambal is actually famous for the gharials, Indian gharials, and there is a gharial sanctuary also there. And Chambal river rises from Madhya Pradesh and going towards northern side in Rajasthan, and then meeting Yamuna in the UP state. So that is a wrong one. There these saltwater crocodiles are not found. Bhitarkanika, they are also found in the Andaman Nicobar Islands. So 2 and 3 is the correct option here. The stretch is on the eastern part. The habitations and all these habitats, they are located on the eastern part of the Indo-Pacific Ocean and the Indian the coast. Next, species which are endemic to Andaman and Nicobar Island. Endemic means they are found there only, they are limited to that particular space, and they are flourishing in that area only, and specific conditions which are attached, which are signifying the populations there. So endemic means a specific one. So Narcondam Hornbill, you can see Narcondam is the island there in the northeastern part of Andaman Nicobar Island system. So that is famous, it's an endemic one. Dugong sea cow is not endemic, because you cannot say that specifically it is found there. It is also found in the western coast of India, and the Mannar coast, and other important areas of Indo-Pacific, western part of the Indo-Pacific region. So this is not endemic to Andaman and Nicobar, so this is wrong. And third one is also wrong, because Indo-Pacific humpback dolphin is not found in Andaman and Nicobar. It is mainly found in the western part of Indian coast. So 1 only is the correct option here. You can see this is the Indian Ocean humpback dolphin, and this is the stretch where it is found. You can see it is not found in the Andaman Nicobar area, and surely it is not endemic to that place. Now Narcondam hornbills. You see, hornbills are very famous. Great Indian hornbill, that was asked in 16 prelims examination, and mainly that is found in the Western Ghat region of India. And the populations are also found in the northeastern part of India, where a famous hornbill festival is there in Nagaland. You must be knowing about that. So that is related to the Great Indian Hornbill, and this is Narcondam hornbill. Okay, endemic to Narcondam Island. And these are the birds list for the Andaman and Nicobar Island groups. Okay, so these are endemic to these places. Like Andaman bulbul is very famous, and this Andaman woodpecker is very famous. Barn owl is very famous there, and Hume's book is also famous. So these are endemic to these areas. And you see the Andaman Nicobar Islands, they are very specific. All kinds of dense forest, they are found there, from moist deciduous till equatorial rainforest. All kinds of evergreen, semi-evergreen, and fully evergreen forests, they are found in the Andaman Nicobar Island place. Dugong, you can see this is called stellar sea cow. It's a mammal. It's a herbivorous mammal, marine mammal. Herbivorous marine mammal. It is not found in the rivers. It is only found in the salty waters of the oceans, and it's a herbivorous animal. Very simple and very specific one. The family is Dugongidae, and it is the only one that is found under this family. And Sirenia is the order of it. So they may ask you about that. Vulnerable is the status under the IUCN red list. So it is vulnerable and it is found in all these areas, the blue ones. and this is endangered, not critically endangered, only endangered in the IUCN list, this Indian Ocean humpback dolphin. So that's important. So dolphins are also very, very specific. Next, Doyang Dam Reservoir. It is often seen in news regarding Amur falcons. Amur falcons were in news because these are migratory birds. They come from the Siberian area and they stay at this part because it is located on these migration flyways, as we call them. So it is here, and many numbers people killed these Amur falcons and they used to eat their fleshes, but now things are changed and people understand their significance, and Amur falcons are found there. So Doyang river is there. It's a tributary of Brahmaputra going towards north, and it's a left bank tributary of the Brahmaputra river. So that's important. And Doyang Dam is also located in the Vukha village of Nagaland. So there it is also called a Doyang Lake also. So that's important. Next, regarding the SCCF, Special Climate Change Fund, important is it was set up under the UNFCCC, not CBD. This is wrong. It provides finances to the developing countries correctly for adaptation and mitigation technologies. You see, the main issue is of the adaptation and mitigation, adaptation to the conditions, the climate change conditions, and the local issues, and mitigation of the climate change impact. That is the aim. And many bodies are set up regarding that, many programs, many initiatives are regarding that, working in the way, and SCCF was established under the UNFCCC convention. So 2 only is the correct option here. And you see, there is a least developed countries LDCF, where only least developed countries can apply for this fund, but SCCF is actually complement this LDCF, and it's also for the vulnerable developing countries. For that, LDCF is not there, so it's mainly for the developing countries. And separate financing windows are there: technology transfer, mitigation, and energy, transport, industry, agriculture, forestry, waste management, economic diversification. All areas are coming under this SCCF framework. Next, Green Climate Fund. You see, these kind of questions, they are normally asked in the environmental section because of the Indian Forest Service prelims and the Indian Civil Service Examination prelims. They both are the single examinations. So these environmental section questions, they are more than 20 in number every year. So these are the very characteristic questions for that. It has been set up under the UNFCCC as financial mechanism to support the developing countries, especially for the developing countries. That is correct. Equal emphasis on adaptation and mitigation projects to combat climate change. Both are correct statements. In South Korea's Incheon, this Green Climate Fund GCF is established. So that's important. And adaptation and mitigation, as I told you, these are the basic practices under this whole climate change issue: adaptation and mitigation. Remember that, A&M, and it is working regarding that. Remember the Incheon place specifically for the GCF, climate change Green Climate Fund, and established under the climate finance issue of UNFCCC. Importantly, next, NACS was established in the US country, and then it was propagated to other countries also. We have also adopted these standards. These are international standards. Nitrogen dioxide is there, lead is there, arsenic is not there, carbon dioxide is not there. In the place of carbon dioxide, there is carbon monoxide, that is much more dangerous. So these are dangerous molecules and chemicals under it. So 1 and 2 is the correct option here, and 3 and 4 are wrong. Here, carbon monoxide, ozone, that is created on the ground. How ozone is created? NOx plus polycyclic hydrocarbons, when they react in the presence of sunlight, then this ground ozone is created, and that's very, very dangerous. Nitrogen dioxide is there, lead is there. You must have seen Sisa Rahit petrol on the petrol pumps and all. So earlier it used to be found in the petrol and diesel. Now they have developed mechanisms to remove lead from these oils and all. So PM10, PM2.5, these are the important things, and SO2, sulfur dioxide, which is mainly the constituent of the acid rain. So these are under NACS. And also remember that NACI is Indian Phenomena, National Air Quality Index. SUFFER app is very, very important, and the CPCB is National Ambient Air Monitoring Program, NAMP. So these things you should revise before the prelims examination. One of the questions would be certainly asked for these areas, because there are many reports that maximum number of deaths are happening in India because of the air pollution. Next information, Supreme Court pushes for full strength of 31. You see, the maximum strength of the judges in the Supreme Court right now can be 31 maximum. Right now there are 27 and 4 would be added according to the Supreme Court's word. You see, the power lies with the Indian Parliament that they can raise these numbers or they can cut down these numbers. So right now the strength is sanction strength is 31 and 27 are employed for the job right now. 4 are suggested by the Supreme Court. Now there is a reiteration of the previously recommended these 2 judges. Government declined that offer. Again Supreme Court is sending their offer that no, you have to and appoint these people because they have good merit, sufficient knowledge and all the expertise which is needed for the Supreme Court's judges working. So Anirudh Bose and A.S. Bopanna, they would also be inducted into this squad, and B.R. Gawai for the regions that SC/ST community should also be represented in the Supreme Court judges panel. So B.R. Gawai is going to be there from the Bombay High Court, and Justice Surya Kant. So these 4 would be added, and 31 strength, that would be the maximum strength of the Supreme Court. So after the elections, this would be the most important development in the Supreme Court. Government takes these recommendation by the collegium system of the Supreme Court, then it send this list to President, and then President appoints these people. So this is the way. Next, Navy joins exercise in South China Sea. International Fleet Review is going on. It's the 70th anniversary celebration for the China's Navy. So on the context of it, they are doing this International Fleet Review in 2016. We also did this International Fleet Review, and we are sending INS Kolkata and INS Shakti. INS Kolkata is a missile destroyer and Shakti is a replenishment ship. Means it helps other ships in the fleet. So it takes care about the cargoes, fuels, all these issues. So Shakti is replenishment ship and the Kolkata is missile destroyer. So only 2 we are sending there. We are not sending any kind of aircraft carrier or something like that. So this is South China Sea where this International Fleet Review is happening. Next, bank credit grows 13.2% in financial year 2019. 23.7% growth is there in the services sector, the maximum growth. 16.7% growth is there with the retail sector. So these are the 2 highlighted sectors this year. And credit growth in the industry was 5.6% only, but somehow it was some relaxation. Deposits grow by 10% and NBFCs are consistently facing crisis, and that advantage was there for the banks because NBFCs, they are struggling with the liquidity issues after this ILFS crisis. So they are facing consistent liquidity crisis, and that advantage is taken by banks. So that's why the credit is growing for the banks, because more people are turning towards banks instead of NBFCs, which are facing troubles. And you see, a base effect is also applicable on the manufacturing sector, although it has recorded some growth, but it is due to base effect. What is base effect? If on an average 10% growth is there year by year, and in some year maybe there is no growth, it is 0% growth, and in the next year it is again according to the 10% average standard, then the growth according to this year would be 20%, because 10% was the average, and this year they have got this particular average, but the last year was 0%. So that would also be added to that next year. So this is the way, because of the decline in the last year's data, this year's data looks positive. So this is base effect. Maybe there is no growth this year, maybe in the current year there is no growth according to the average system, and whatever growth that is depicted, that is due to the decline of the last year. So because of the last year's low data, some growth is visible in the present year's data. So that is called base effect. So it is that phenomena which is applicable to the manufacturing sector. Otherwise, not much growth is there in the manufacturing sector. So that's the issue. Next, India to add 3 million tech jobs by 2023. You see, our electronics and IT policy is also out. There also they have targeted more than 10 lakh people to become professional. And then they are targeting tier 2, tier 3 cities so that these tech setups like BPO industries and all, they can be set up in these countries, because no raw material or something like that is needed in that. Only the offices and the internet connection is needed. So these facilities can be brought up to tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So these are going to be creating jobs, and in this data by Indian Staffing Federation, they are saying that around 3 million tech jobs would be there in India. So that's a positive sign. Technology is the biggest employment giver these days, and artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data analytics, Internet of Things, and blockchain technology, augmented reality. These are all related phenomena, and they are the highlighted issues in the present day. So you should be clear about all these concepts. Many questions certainly will be asked from these data, both in prelims and mains examination. So that's important. And now when they are going to give jobs around 3 million by 2023, so this is the best thing. Now about the articles. Political one, no need to discuss. This we will not discuss. This is a repeated issue, and a simple point is given here that the allegation on the CJI issue of the natural justice ignorance, that is not true to 100% level, because it says that the very experienced panel is there, and it is headed by the Justice Bob Day. He is the senior most judge right now after CJI. So this issue is not 100% legitimate to call Supreme Court as a biased body or something like that. So this angle is given here by the writer against all these popular opinions regarding this case. So we will discuss that, important for GS paper 2. We will discuss this issue in brief. GS paper 2 would be important here regarding the India and America's trade issues. Endless war. Here it is again a repeated issue. We have discussed so many times this issue in big articles, that US is much more interested in its own exit, and for this exit it is negotiating with Taliban and all, and that thing is all open. The government of the Afghanistan, that is totally ignored here. That's a clear picture here. They are totally ignored, and they are not finding any ground there, because politically they are not much strong. Taliban is much more dominant there. US practically is not supporting. Officially they are claiming that the democratic government should be established there, but practically they are not giving much emphasis to that. They are giving much emphasis to the Taliban factor, and Taliban is much more supported here and trusted here, and the government is finding it very, very difficult to survive there. The elections of the president, they are extended, and they are now postponed for a later date. But anyhow, this setup is finding very shaky ground there in Afghanistan. So that's the trouble with the Afghan government. Although they are demanding a lot of support from Indian side and other countries, but you see, this issue is out of their hands, because the US is bound to negotiate with these Taliban group. So that's the issue with here, and they want to establish a democratic principle there, but that is not possible for now, because Taliban is holding a lot of ground there. Now let's discuss. We will discuss this brief article also, Vox Populi. It is regarding the representation in the election process. New Delhi must snap out of its denial on the discord with the US on market access. You see, Mr. Ross, yesterday we discussed that, lashed out at what he called India's unfair trade practices. Many allegations are there. You see, the truth is that we are imposing some duties, like on the automobile sector and the motorcycles, 50 to 60% duties we are imposing on the American motorcycles, 150% duties on the American liquor. So these are some highlighted issues by America, which is imposed by India. But you see, on an average, only 13.8% is the average tariff imposed by India on the American products, and this is lesser than many other economies like South Korea, Brazil and all. So it's not a huge issue, but America is going too much towards the protectionism, and it is saying, because it has got something to say, then they are trying to dominate the scene here. They are trying to strangulate India with these issues. The Iran issue is already going on. The generalized system of preference, that is also applicable now, that they are not going to give it to India. And it all started with these B2B business and B2C businesses norms, which are applicable now since 1st of February, and these were against these American companies and all. So after that, America raised all these issues and it imposed all these issues. Now America says that this escalation would go up if India is not heeding to this issue. And even Trump called India as a tariff king, that India wants all kinds of tariff against American products, and they do not want any tariff on their products which are coming to America. So this is a big allegation, and it's a big escalation. And you see, nowhere that impact is visible, which was there in popular media in India, that India, America are great friends, strategic friends and all, and everything is fine, and we have great influence there with all these governments there, and they all are supporting us in all the moves, and moral support is coming from everywhere in all these issues like Pakistan issue and all. But you see, even after these 2+2 dialogue issue, Comcast agreement, everything was there on the place. But those impacts, those closeness, those friendliness is never visible in these trade issues, because as it says that America is always concentrated on its own interests and all its tariff issues. Wherever it finds difficult, then it would attack that country, whoever that country is, whether it's India or it's China. So with China, the trade wars are going on. Now America says that this can convert into a trade war with India also, if India does not compromise here. So the main issue is that elections are going on in India, and after elections, Indian government has to make some efforts here. And you see, these issues like 150% duties on liquors and 50% duties on motorcycles and all, certainly they need some kind of review here. Certainly they would need. And you see, this dominant position of Washington, that would be important here, because we cannot take everything on our side. Why? Because we are claiming that we are becoming a big country. By 2030, India would be the third largest market of the world. So remaining all these issues, America, like a big country, they will not concede this issue that India is a needy nation, India is a poor nation. They would not concede to these things. So we would have to review some of our processes also, some of our tariffs also, that things cannot go like they were going in the past, because now America is taking a very tough stand. So some things would be needed here. But you see, as I told you, average tariff from India's side is not much. So that also has to be seen here by America. Otherwise, this would be a big trouble for both the countries. You see, they imposed tariff on our products like aluminium, steel and all. So those were a problem. We lost an important solar cell dispute in WTO. That was a problem. Now the GSP issue is a problem. And after that, this Iran oil strangulation. That is also the biggest one till now. So India has its own points, America has its own points. So some clarification would be needed after the elections, and that's for sure. Otherwise, it would be a big problem. And this approach of Trump, that my way or the highway, that would not go very well. And we would certainly have to think about the alternative financial structures. And these Asian countries and all, they are certainly going to help in these issues. So that's for sure. Next, in this article of the CJI issue, a writer wants to put a very important point here, and all other part is the repeated one. Here he says that the legal precedent that is taken as a reference, the in-house committee issue of 1999 case, and in this Indira Jaising versus Supreme Court of India, that case, where the complaint is being heard by this particular panel, they heard it, and the lady had got some reservations there. That's totally correct, that she was denied the copy of that particular report. But the writer says that the panel was very much efficient, and two lady judges were there, and Justice Bobde and all, these are the senior most judges. They are very important personalities, these are, because they are very responsible people. They are dealing with the highest level of cases, and we are trusting this body because it is the last resort in the democracy. So these people are to be trusted. Why? Because whenever there is a case of urgent importance and national importance everywhere, these are the people who are deciding the fate of this nation. Okay, they are giving important verdicts. So these people are involved here. Where in the in-house committee's president that was taken here, the provisions were like, if there is any case regarding the judge of a high court and a chief justice of a high court or the judge of the Supreme Court, then the matter would be given to CJI. But in this case, it's a unique one because CJI is involved here. And you see, CJI is not a simple authority, as I told you. He administers oaths to president also. So it's a very unique situation where the allegation is against the highest position wielding person. So that is why this matter was given to the senior most judges of the Supreme Court, and two lady judges were also there. So 100% we cannot say that they were being biased there and the natural justice was not being followed there. Who knows what these proceedings were, and these are the most responsible people in this nation. They are deciding this issue, so they are trustable people. We cannot say like that whatever is being followed there, that is totally manipulative and totally suspicious. It's not true. Maybe some restrictions are there. We need to think about that angle also. This point raised by Mr. V. Giri as a senior advocate in the Supreme Court, that also holds some ground here, because you see, some things are very obvious and these are also known by these important judges, why they will fear a totally wrong issue and why they would be as manipulative here and why they would allow CJI to be manipulative here, because there is a huge it's a big allegation and the total image is also at stake. And you see, important cases are to be decided by Supreme Court now, and CJI would be the important part of that. He would be deciding about these cases, allocating important benches and all. So he would be crucial in these cases which are coming, like Ayodhya case, Rafael case, all these cases. So many angles are there. It's not a simple issue. That is why he is calling that it's a unique issue, and it's not like that any other judge of a district high court, simple high court, or any other official under the Indian setup, he is being alleged here. The allegation is on the CJI. So that is why this matter is given to the most responsible people in this nation and who are in this judicial setup. So the Justice Bobde panel is a very responsible panel. So we need to see and we need to wait for some clarifications here. We cannot jump directly to that issue that natural justice is not being followed there, and CJI has manipulated this issue and lady is being denied everything here. You see, the writer says that it's not like that she was totally denied some things. She did not proceed with some steps which were her right, but she did not decide to go further. So whatever is being spread in the media, in popular channels and all, totally this issue is not like that. So that is the additional angle given by Mr. V. Giri. It's his personal opinion. We cannot say these are the official ones, but certainly angles would be there, because this much big body, we cannot deny its importance altogether. That's the issue. Next, the issue of Vox Populi. Here it says that a unique case in Nizamabad district we saw where 185 candidates were there in the fray. 178 farmers, they jumped into this fray in Nizamabad. Why? There was a very legitimate reason, and you see, this is a very unfortunate thing in India. Nobody is talking about their concerns, that why these people are coming to become a candidate. It's not their political goal, it's not their political ambitions which are bringing them here. It's their crisis issue, that their concerns about their turmeric and sorghum crops cases, they are not being heard, and system is totally ignoring their issues. So in the end, they are bound to come into this last resort of the election process, where they themselves are taking this responsibility. They know that they won't be able to win there. It's not a surety, and more surety is towards that they would not be chosen, but they are here just to represent themselves. Representation is the main issue, and that is the biggest basic of the election process, that representation should be there, and for the true people and the people who are facing troubles, their representation in the election process is a must. In 1996 also, there were 480 candidates from the SC/ST communities, and because they were the victim of the fluorosis and nobody was addressing their issue, so they came into this fray, and at that time they weren't able to pay the 250 rupees fee that was needed as the election security deposit. They were not able to pay that also. But now you see, in this case, anyhow they arranged this 25,000 rupees money, but the case remains the same, that their representation is not there. So they themselves are coming there. In the assembly election also, at one time in 1996, 1033 candidates contested the seat, as no one heard address their concerns over the farm distress. So the problem is that this is a very dire situation where all these shameless media houses of India, They are just running propagandas, and these are the worst of the world. We must say journalism is actually in the gutter today. They are not taking the plight of these poor people. They are not discussing even for a single time these issues, and they are running all kinds of nonsensical propagandas about these nonsensical people who are running nonsensical campaigns, and they are just glorifying these people, and they are not addressing these poor people's issues, and these are the most legitimate issues for the election process, we must say, but we do not see any mention of these people. So that's the issue, and that's a unique case again after 1996, that 178 people they contested for these for this process, but the actual issue was the representation there, and that is the main spirit of the election process in India. These are two simple questions, and try to find their answers. And sorry, it's a repeated one. You see, I'm saying that come to the PIB lesson in the evening. We will discuss more than 15 to 20 questions today, because here I'm not able to give many questions there. Today's lesson is very late, so we will discuss 15 to 20 questions in the PIB data today. So please attend that session, and thanks a lot. Keep watching. It was Amit.